yeah, it's podcast time. All right, everybody, it's almost agreement time. Sam is snowed in deep in the hearts of Anderson County. They're under like 64 feet of snow. It's madness out there, but luckily the power's on. There's some booze in the house, and the heater's working, so Sam's safe, everybody. Fear not. But anyway, we're going to show him remotely because I have no sympathy for Sam's plight, so I'm going to make him work on his chaos-filled home up here in Anderson County. So we're almost agreement at gmail.com. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, you got YouTube. Go to the website, almostagreement.com, check out what we got going on there. April 14th, it is happening. I, as the media baron that I am, have decided to get into the public forum / debate realm. I am hosting a debate in Happy Holler at my friend's place called Relics right across the street. Fit a couple hundred people. The bar will be open, so we're going to have a good time. Get to know your candidates. It's the day before tax day. It's the day before early voting starts, so it's pretty poignant. If you haven't made a decision yet, come check it out. April 14th in Happy Holler, starting about 8 p.m. Anyway, almost agreement. We're going to do a show, and I'll probably talk about my debate a little bit more, too, because I got to fight with somebody over it this week. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
How you feel?
Happy.
All right, B is good enough as long as you're safe in this winter storm.
Oh, yes.
Mayhem that we all suffer from it right now. I mean, last week was a dud. I don't know. I don't know. Was Oak Ridge okay?
No. We pretty much just got like a dusting of sleet.
I mean, it was pretty cold. It was pretty gross.
I did put like the windshield saver thing on my car, which did help. I didn't drive it for a couple days, but I did find instead to go drive it. I was like, I'll go to McDonald's, go through the drive-thru. All three of my other windows would roll down, but the driver's window wouldn't. And I was like, son of a bitch.
I think that's a you thing, buddy. Isn't that pretty normal for you? Didn't your old car, your prior vehicle, do the same thing?
Oh, a lot of cars do that. Anytime just like a little bit of water gets in there, it's cold enough. I
had to get my Wheaties on before I could open my door. It was not really excited about getting opened. But for numerous reasons, not just for my own comfort, I did start it and let it run for probably a good 10 minutes before I even got out in it. Just let it get good and warm, let the engine get good and warm, let the whole thing get the fluids pumping, all that stuff before I put any additional stress on it. That was my thought process, at least. I don't know. Almost agreement at gmail.com. If you are a car person, you can tell me how much it doesn't matter that I warm my car up or not.
Yeah. What I've heard, I heard like one mechanic equated to, he's like, warm it up for as long as it takes you to put your seatbelt on, as long as you're not, like getting ready to like immediately jumping on the highway, or really trying to like literally give it gas.
Right, really put the hammer down. Yeah,
spirited driving. You definitely don't want to do that when the engine's still really cold, because like you said, the fluids are still trying to warm up to operating temperature, but it's a bit of a misnomer. I still do it sometimes.
I mean, just for comfort's sake,
for a good 5 minutes. Yeah,
get the heat on, get it to where the heat's actually pumping, because it takes a few minutes for the engine bay to get warm enough to produce heat for the heater part
block
of the system, and then defrost or just have a warm thing to be inside when it's cold as shit outside. So either way, I will burn. But I mean, I guess the sad side effect is these cold snaps we've been getting are because of global warming, and the more we burn our cars to be warm when it's cold, the worse it's going to get. Anyway,
very possible.
We're doing it again this weekend. We'll see how it goes. I have one of the weirder things ever that happened to me was on Wednesday or Thursday of last week. My youngest was very upset about the premise of not having school this Monday.
Something special going on? Is it movie day? Are they gonna bring the card in?
It was bring the card in. No, it's starting of his fencing club, so he didn't really care about the school part. He just wanted the after school program.
That's cool. He
is in fencing club, which I'll take it. I mean, it's a move your body pursuit.
I wouldn't have thought the school even had one of those.
Well, it's a newer teacher. It's his second year at this school. Apparently he was like a state champion in some place, and he competed collegiately and stuff like that, and so he was pretty good apparently. And it's something that he had done at his old school, and it was like way out. Like I want to say he was out in like Roane County is what I'm thinking of, but I don't think that's right. I think it was down like towards Sweetwater or something like that. A quite rural county that he started a fencing club at, and it really kind of stuck, and the kids were into it. And
I'd say a lot of kids like, hey, you want to play with swords?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That The thing is that my kid was already enjoying playing with swords, and now he gets to do it in a more structured format. And so it was kind of crazy. Like, he went from nothing to. There are some weeks where he's after school every day except Friday.
Man, that's good.
And so he's getting into stuff, and now and he also said, "Can we go to school early?" Because they do a kind of a jazz band thing, about like a 20-minute rehearsal from 8 a.m. to 8:20, and then they break out and go to class or whatever. He's like, "Can we go early and get that?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It actually makes things easier timing wise. I don't have to fight with you guys over who gets dropped off first because you're both supposed to be at school at the same time. So that was a bonus of that feature. So yeah. Anyway.
So Country Star, speaking of bands, donated, I guess, money for Musical Instruments for West.
Where?
I think it was Morgan Wallen donated. Either donated instruments or donated money to go towards instruments for their high school band.
To what is that, Gibbs or whatever?
West.
West? I don't think that's right. I feel like it was Carnes or something like that, or Gibbs or Halls.
He gave much of money to, I think it was Gibbs, like a year or so ago.
Okay, because I think that's where he went, was Gibbs or Halls or one of those up that way.
Yeah.
One of the north side schools. But, I mean, it's cool.
Apparently donated some stuff for West.
Well, good. I don't know, their band, they had a bad year in recruits. They were a very small band this last year. We'll see what they are next year. But
maybe that was why he did it.
Maybe. So, yeah, we got snow this weekend. The big news was today in the frigid cold of this Friday morning. Speaking of schools, West included, a bunch of kids walked out of class and went down to downtown and had a nice protest.
I saw about that.
Yeah.
To go down to the World's Fair Park? Is that where it was?
Yeah, apparently they met somewhere around. They met around the Sun Sphere and walked across that pedestrian bridge up to Market, I think is what they said, and then they turned right and went the 5-6 blocks through downtown to the little courtyard area out in front of City County. And yelled and screamed for a little bit. Apparently there were some speakers, but there wasn't really a sound system set up. It was just somebody yelling on their, speaking through their megaphone, which is not really good for large crowds. Because Jesse stopped by on his way in to tape his show. He swung down there and got some pictures and checked it out for a little bit. And apparently his estimate was about 1,000. Not all students, obviously, but a lot of them being of high school age. So. My eldest was telling me at pickup that if anybody they announced this morning as classes began that if anybody left school to participate in the protest that there was 3 days suspension.
Yeah.
Which I was thinking to myself, like, if you were planning on going to this thing, why wouldn't you just skip the whole day and just get an absence and not get in trouble for leaving campus? Just never go on. Because I told him, I was like,
pretty much like all the kids outside of like seniors wouldn't be able to drive away anyway. So I guess some of them got picked up.
Well, I mean, and like for us, like they locked our parking lot. The top lot or the new lot over there by the softball field that went into downtown West. That one they locked it during the day.
Yeah, that's true.
So like that, I have plenty of questions on. But anyway, I don't know. It happened, and apparently a bunch of kids showed up, including Jesse was excited to see his own kid in the crowd.
Was he surprised? Or?
Well, he was aware of the idea that it might, but he was not told he would.
Huh.
Like, he was like, well, I don't know, maybe, or whatever. And so, we're actually supposed to tape on Wednesday next week, so he might bring his kid with him because he might be staying home because he might be in trouble. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know.
I saw like some cities actually closed schools for the day, I guess, so they didn't have like a bad record of absenteeism.
There you go. Cheat to keep the state happy while your students are protesting stuff that you want to do.
We're gonna have protests like, okay, we'll just close the school, man. Like, sweet.
Man, it's a win-win.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Like, I was talking to my kid about it because he was talking about like what he heard the protests about, and everybody's talking about as far as that generation kids and stuff. And I think I stumbled upon maybe not a problem. Well, it's a problem in marketing by these different groups or whomever is coining phrases and stuff like that. Because or it may be a problem with me because I take things a little too literally. Because when you're going to do a protest to abolish ICE, I got to go like, well, abolish what they're doing, abolish the practices that this current version of ICE is doing, okay, I can get behind that phrasing. But if you say abolish ICE, I don't know how to respond to that, because it is an agency and organization that if we're going to pretend like we are a sovereign nation, we kind of need to have it, or some variation thereof.
Right.
Like,
I thought some of like at least the local one, I don't know if it was the grand idea, but I think some of it was pushing back on the idea of ICE being able to come into schools.
Yeah. And then there's the state law that they're talking about that they passed to the Senate last year, but it's just getting to the House this session, about requiring residency requirement documentation on all students that may or may not, that would give local jurisdictions the ability to charge tuition to non-resident students.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. And Jesse on his show, he talked about a very interesting case in Alabama, I think is what he said. So his parents came over illegally while they were pregnant, or at least while the mom was pregnant. I don't know if the dad's the dad or whatever. I don't know. The story at least didn't go into that kind of detail. But he was born here. Or no, he wasn't born here. Sorry. He was born there, but came over when he was like under a year old. And so he spent his entire life, he's like 20 something now. Spent his entire life, went through the whole Alabama school system. And so he's this very Mexican dude. Like he looks like a Mexican, but he sounds like a redneck. Not dissimilar to one of my Vietnamese friends, where he sounds like a good old boy every time he gets going. He's just got that old accent thing going on and stuff like that. But it always kind of makes you laugh because it's this little Asian guy. So apparently that's this dude's story. And so he went all the way through the public school system there. He's engaged, just had a baby of his own. The baby's like a year and a half old. The mom and the baby was born here, so it's a citizen. The mom was already a citizen anyway. He got kind of rolled up and then deported, and he's living in Mexico with a weird Southern English accent. And it was an interesting little like tangent on the whole thing, because that one I feel like, okay, maybe we could have a shortcut system for a person like that to get reentry. Like, I think my argument in the past few weeks has been, if you get caught not following the rules to get here and you get kicked out, you should be kicked down a little lower on the list than the people that are trying to get here in their own way, in the correct way. I think that seems like a fair thing, but it's also like, that assumes that something like that has been in place for a long period of time. And so the compromise that me and my eldest came up with while we were talking about in the car today, it's like, okay, well, starting today, if you're here and you've been here for a while and you don't have any real criminal record, we'll get you a pathway to citizenship. If you have a criminal record, you're going bye-bye. If you come in tomorrow, you have to come in through the legal proper processes, or you can go back. Or we'll send you back for yourself or something like that. And then just kind of, we got to find there's the compromise to find us a reasonable starting point is what we came up with today in the car. Okay. Because I'm kind of like that, like this particular one was like, it kind of struck me as like, that sucks. Like, I think if you've gone through the entire K through 12 system in any state in the nation, maybe when you graduate high school, if you aren't already a citizen, you should get citizenship for going all the way through a K through 12 system in the United States. Yeah. I think that kind of should be automatic. Maybe your parents don't. I
don't know how common it is, but I've heard of I guess illegal immigrants serving in the military, which I wouldn't think they would. I mean, I guess they'll take whoever wants to sign up, but I guess it seems even like some of those people, that even had like combat experience, still getting deported after the fact.
Yeah, I feel like that should be that could be a freebie. That's a shitty one though. I mean, I don't know. I always complain about all the different.
It's like you can get a GI Bill, but you can't be a citizen.
I mean, I don't like the idea. I mean, there's problems with that where it'd be like you'd have people sneak over and sign up just to get their citizenship, and then you have an army of people who may or may not really give a shit about what they're supposed to be fighting for. I could see that being semi-problematic, but I don't know. I mean, it's still, if you're going to, if you can go through the system and you can follow orders and we can get you sent to, Iran or whatever here in a couple weeks and killed on our behalf, I guess if you survive it, yeah, I think citizenship's a fair trade for letting us go, let you chase after the Ayatollah or whatever the fuck we're going to do over there. Yeah. And so, yeah, that one, there's been some more details coming out about our fun story and with the whole contractor and that thing. I haven't heard.
Yeah, I saw a little bit. It didn't seem like like anything.
Well, it was a different article, but it was just like it was the same story from a different article, and the different article had at least a much more immigrants / the contractor that was trying to protect their immigrant friends. Apparently, one thing that I did learn today that, or maybe not today, it's something I saw in it that wasn't in the story that we talked about, is apparently that when the two guys that ended up getting arrested, like, realized ICE was literally physically on their way to come shut down the job site, they texted everybody and started yelling at everybody, telling them ICE is here, get the fuck out. And so they actually, like, again, I think the core crime is a reasonable crime. You are using illegal labor for your own financial benefit. I think that's a fair crime to exist. But then part of the impeding charge is, they warned the quote unquote criminals that the fuzz was coming. Which I don't know, is that a crime?
I mean, I don't know. It seems like it would be in a gray area of impeding.
I don't know. That doesn't feel particularly criminal to me. I don't know. I could see it being used criminally in some way, shape, or form, but.
Or like I guess it would be obstruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I found that one a little bit awkward.
Article I read, like, he mentioned again about, like, them. I guess one of the guys, like, actually ramming into one of the cars, which I think they just did, like, a sentence in that first article we read. Didn't really mention much.
Right, it was the first article was very confusing, whether he hit him or whether he parked it angrily at them.
Yeah, I did mention, I guess, like, at some point he was, like, blocking some kind of, like, driveway to the site and kept, like, backing up, back and forth so they couldn't pull in or something.
Oh, okay. So he's in the car, moving around, trying to keep. Okay, that's I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what to say about it. So, yeah. Anyway, that case is rolled in. Apparently there were 2 items the county commission was going to put up this week that both got pulled back. They delayed their meeting to Thursday because of the weather. It was supposed to be on Monday, but Andy Fox was going to give a Bible lesson on what the Bible really says about immigrants, and how all these people that are quoting the Bible saying that Jesus loves the poor and the needy and says we should help them and take care of them. His interpretation of the Bible says otherwise, and he was going to share that with the class at commission this week, and end up taking that off the agenda. And then
cool.
The other one was
the Bible's real straightforward, right?
Yeah,
it can't be misinterpreted.
No, of course not. How could you possibly misinterpret?
Well, I mean, he's pointing out that other people are misinterpreting it, and his way is the one true way to read it.
Right. Let me educate you on something that you probably spent more time reading on and understanding than I have.
Right.
And so, that one, and then Rhonda Lee had a proclamation that she wanted the commission to vote on, encouraging the state legislature to pass that bill with the school thing we were talking about earlier. Even though Knox County Schools, who actually oversees this kind of thing, had voted to ask the legislature not to, and their argument, at least, whether it was the reason why or not, was about just the pure logistics of dealing with it. It was not something they had the manpower or time or energy to do.
Verifying citizenship.
Right. Not that they were opposed to the principle of it. They were just opposed to, they don't have the money, time, energy, people to get it done. And so those 2 got postponed this week for some reason or the other, probably because that, I don't know, the 5th murder or whatever it is in Minneapolis that was so publicized and all that kind of crap kind of made being an anti-immigrant a bad position to take in front of everybody, at least for the time being. So cooler heads or something like that is the idea. Apparently the only thing Andy Fox said about why he ended up pulling it was that since they moved the meeting, a group that had planned to come and speak and so in support of what he wanted to do had a different meeting scheduled and couldn't be there, and he didn't want to do it without him because everybody else that had signed up to speak on the topic wanted to tell him he was an idiot. There was like 6 or 8 people that signed up to express their disappointment.
Right.
And his 6 or 10 people that were planning on coming couldn't because they had a different meeting.
Interesting. Sounds democratic.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Anyway, those kind of got pushed out of the way. Land use stuff coming this week. The Those are the big ones. I got in a big fight on Facebook, like I do, with a Phil King. Apparently he ran for office a couple years ago, and I tried to get him to come on the show, and apparently I was harassing him, or borderline harassing him, according to him.
Come onto the show or harassing him outside of it?
To come on the show. I mean, I vaguely remember it. I honestly don't remember it specifically. I certainly don't remember him specifically because he certainly wasn't the only one that was refusing to come on when I was asking. It was one of those times I was on like real hardcore where it's like, I want to do this. I want to get every single one in here. And I want to get, if they run for office, they have to talk to me. It's bullshit if they don't talk to me. And I was really aggressive about it. I remember that phase. And I mean, there's still some level of it. It's like, you should try to make time if you can. I think it's appropriate, but I also can't make you do anything you don't want to do. But that was when I was talking about trying to do a profile on everybody. Whether if they didn't do an interview, I was going to go do a profile on.
Yeah,
I do remember talking about that, and he took that as a threat because apparently I went in one of my communications with him. I said, "Well, I'm going to do a show on you, whether you come on or not. I would just prefer to do it with you, so you could speak for yourself, instead of it me being interpreting what I see on the internet and stuff about you."
Okay.
But that was a threat, and so he thinks I'm a callous actor. He's a Betsy fan. Apparently he knows Betsy well enough that Betsy had told him that she has not confirmed her plan to attend. And so he was like, "You're false advertising saying you're doing this debate with Betsy." It's like, well, Betsy's invited, and she has not confirmed her plan to come or not come. And it's like, well, you shouldn't put her on your advertisement if she's not coming. It's like, well, I don't know if she's not coming or not yet. And to be honest, I'm going to leave it on the advertisement even if she tells me she's not coming. Because she is a mayoral candidate. As of right now, we have, I think, late next week is when the petition return deadline is. And if the things stay the way they are, there's 3 candidates running for mayor. The 3 candidates running for mayor are on my flyer. If any of those candidates decide not to show up to my event, that's not on me, And so he kept trying to argue about how like I was being his main argument is that he believes me to be a bad actor. I'm not acting in good faith. I play the victim when I don't get my way, or I play stupid like I didn't know any better when I don't get my way. And so I was like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, you want me to say it? And I was like, sure, post away, buddy. And so he listed all his grievances, and I went point by point and said, okay, yeah. Like, because one of the complaints was not him, obviously, because he didn't do the show, but somebody else that had done the show with me was apparently offended that I shared the episode into a Facebook group that was a left-leaning Facebook group. To which my response was that I have a media project that I am trying to promote. I'm going to send it to anybody, and everybody listens. Not to mention, are you guys so good that you wouldn't take a vote from somebody that you don't like if maybe they heard your interview and ended up liking you? Like, you guys don't need these other people's votes? Is that the thing here? You don't want people to know? I mean, like, there's no way I can think of it that you wouldn't, as a candidate, that you don't want more people to hear you.
Well, maybe he thought it was more of like a smear piece, and that's why you put this one person into an opposing party's Facebook group or whatever.
I mean, it's only a smear piece if they said something stupid. It's not a smear piece from, like, you know how I do my interviews. I don't edit them. I can't make a smear piece. I guess I could play some line of questioning. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously stuff that I have opinions on, and I might run down a line of questioning that they might have what I consider a bad take on it, and I'm trying to push them on that issue or whatever, but it's not a smear piece. It's just I disagree with you on whatever this issue is.
Yes.
Help change my mind here so maybe we can get to the same place. But if that comes out as a smear to you, that's not my fault. You're the one that's trying to be a communicator, not me. Well, I guess I am trying to be a communicator, but I'm not trying to communicate my opinion. I'm trying to make sure that I understand yours. And so it's like, and again, it's like, well, who complained about that? And I guess, and again, if I put it into a left-leaning group that wasn't going to vote for him anyway, even if it was a smear piece, all I'm doing is picking up a couple fans. It's not going to do any harm to the guy that was going to not get their votes anyway, I would think. Yeah. So it's just this ridiculously illogical, dumb, like, argument that he made at me. And then it was like, it's like, so yes, I'm trying to promote my show. If that makes me a bad person because I want people to hear what I have to say and actually hear from you or the other candidates that I talk to, if that makes me a bad person, yes, you're right, I am. And I can't remember what the other couple points were, but it was basically like, it was just all this, like, just spouty bullshit. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to apologize. Like, I own everything I've done on this show, sure. I'm not going to apologize for what I said, but if I actually did something...
You were trying to rile up the opposing side, turn out their vote.
Well, it's like, look, man, and a couple other people commented in the same little thread of stuff. It's like, well, I'm voting for Betsy. I was going to come if Betsy was going to be there, but I'm voting for her anyway, so I'm not coming if she's not there. It's like, well, why would you come to a debate? Like, the whole point of this is to help people make up their mind about it. If you've already made up your mind, you're just taking up space. Now, go spend some money at the bar and help my friend out that's donating the space for me. That's cool. I'll take all the bodies I can get for the economic, trying to make some money for my friend out of this. But outside of that, like, if you've already made up your mind, I don't want you there, at least as the host of this event, because at best you're going to interrupt other people when they're talking, or you're going to just kind of, it's not really a real, like, people shouldn't be cheering for what the person had to say unless that thing that they said was important, not because anything that they say you're going to cheer for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we don't need cheering sections. I don't want cheerleaders there for any of the candidates. I want them to say their piece, and if the room agrees with them and wants to, spout out an ovation of some sort, then go for it. But I don't want somebody back there that no matter what Betsy says, and I'm not trying to rail on Betsy here. It's just because that's this guy that's who this Phil guy was attacking me for. Like, it's like, I don't know. Obviously, I have no qualms about telling people how I feel about Betsy. Talk about her all the time on the show. And if you think I'm an idiot, then you should vote for Betsy because, she drives me crazy. So I put in a call to our good friend Randy Pace to give me at least a little context, because I couldn't remember this guy running for whatever, and he reminded me which he ran for some commission race like 6 years ago or something like that. I can't remember when it was, and I was like, I still don't remember. I don't remember this guy at all. So right. I was so obsessed in harassing him that I forgot all about him. But so I don't know. There's been good other than that interaction. I've had some pretty decent traction on the Facebook of people at least giving me the interested, or some I got some likes and shares and that kind of stuff from strangers that seem mildly into the idea of this thing happening. So fingers crossed.
Would be a good turnout.
I hope so. I'm like, I just hope people.
Political events are always kind of hit or miss. It's like, are people going to show up? Or people to be like, oh, I don't want to go to some like political debate.
Yeah, well,
even if it's not a real, I don't know if you promote it as a debate. It's probably more of just like a forum.
I don't know. Like, I guess that's the question, and maybe I should be more articulate in my statement, because I don't really want to. I'm not going to do a forum. I think one of the identifying factors, if I understand them correctly, maybe I shouldn't do a debate or a forum if I don't know the difference. But I think one of the distinguishing factors in a forum is it's usually audience led, insofar as every forum I've ever been to, they have a bunch of index cards and pencils in a pile, and as you walk in, you grab a couple, you write down some questions, and you hand it to whoever the moderator is. Yeah. And then they kind of sift through and pick ones that they think are interesting or they think might get some conversation going, and then they pick them. I intend to have the general. I intend to work out a general set of questions from things that I think are important that people need to know about the different stuff that we have going on in the county that are actually important. Because I don't want to let people because I know, like, that somebody's going to walk in there and be like, what are we going to do about the schools? And one or all three of these candidates are going to spend 15 minutes talking about the schools, and you know how I feel about mayors of Knox County talking about schools.
Right.
And so I don't want, I certainly don't want them talking about stuff that's not in their purview of an office, just because it's good fodder for the sheep out there that don't pay attention to what actually matters. I intend to try to stay on budgets. That tends to be that's my goal, is to be budget and finance, and how are we going to pay for the stuff we have to pay for? Is there any room without a tax increase to add any services that we're missing? How do you see the county, handling the increased costs of a potentially fully staffed sheriff's office, which we haven't had in a couple of decades? If the sheriff office needs to take on these additional roles because the state requires to them, and how do we plan to finance and fund those things? What services? Because again, Betsy putting her statements out already on her Facebook page and stuff like that. implying some waste and abuse in tax money in the county. And it's like, well, what things, like what can we cut out of this budget to make room for other things, that kind of stuff. That's my target in conversation.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could do like a preemptively if you're getting enough kind of engagement on, where you've got the event up at.
Yeah, I'll probably do.
Go ahead and have people like, hey, if you have any questions.
I'll probably do like a week out. I'll do submit topics or items you're curious about, and we'll see what we can do about adding them to, whatever. Because I think reasonably, just to put on a decent event, like I need to be able to make sure that it runs. And if the questions that I have just don't spark any conversation, and we can't get any real like if they're all just like yes, no, and all three of them agree on all this stuff, so there's no somehow miraculously any questions that I ask, they all answer the same, so there's no differential between them. Yeah. Which they're not going to, I don't see that happening, but, it ends up being I have like 15 questions prepped and they run all through those in like 20 minutes. And it's like, oh, we want to go at least like 45 minutes before we call this thing. So I'll at least have a stack of other stuff to get the wheels rolling if that's what we need to do.
So, you would think they would try to differentiate themselves a little bit from their other candidates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
Instead of be like, yeah, I would do the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, and I think I'll go back to. I need to go back and listen to some of the old interview episodes because I always finish with the 5 questions, and see if any of those would functionally apply here. Because I think I think all three. Well, I don't know. Again, this would be asked. I think there's evidence for Betsy and Larson being political animals. They've both been. Larson's finishing his second term on commission. He held something before that. Betsy's finishing her second term on school board. I think she had some office, or she was at least in some whatever. I don't know the full history of either of them, but it's like you seem to be on a trajectory that you're going to continue to. That your intent is to continue to grow in politics. Why is that? What do you think? What is your motivation to become a career politician? And do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Kind of stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Where Kim has some of that, I guess, because she started out in like neighborhood activism, and then moved into commission, and like she's an interesting one because she hasn't even finished her first commission term. Like her commission term is ending right now, but it's only her first one, so she's not even seeking re-election for commission before she's jumping up. And so I don't think this is a debate question, but I would be curious why she made the decision to make this leap now. Because it seems like a pretty quick turnaround to just get 4 years of commission under your belt and then immediately jump up to mayor.
She's not even hedging her bets.
Well, I talked to Chris about that when I visited him the other day. There are some limitations to what offices you can run for simultaneously.
Okay.
And it's basically you can't run for office in the same jurisdiction. Basically, is the long and short of it. You could run for local, state, and federal office at the same time. 3 different offices.
Okay.
As long as none of those are full-time offices. So, I guess the federal House and Senate are full-time offices, but I don't know. We know that one works because Gloria did it. But since you couldn't run for governor and county mayor at the same time because those are both full-time offices. But you can run for state legislature and county commission at the same time. I don't think you could run for like county clerk and state legislature because county clerk's a full-time job. And the part-time requirements of state legislature would make technically doing the quote full-time job of county commission impossible.
Interesting.
So I think that's kind of that's what I got from Chris talking to Chris about. Is it kind of seems like different as long as they're in different jurisdictions. And none of them are full time, except for, which I guess I don't know what the designation is. You get paid full time for House and Senate federally, because what did we figure that out? It's like $230 to $265 a year or something like that.
As far as pay? Yeah,
like Timmy Burchett getting $200,000 a year to be the rep.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something like that. Speaker of the House gets some extra, minority whatever leader gets some extra stuff like that, but the base pay just to be person from district whatever of this state is like $2.25 or whatever. Senate's a little bit higher, But anyway, I guess that doesn't technically count as a full-time job, though. I don't really know, but that's the differentiating factor.
Which may or may not have to get an apartment in and around DC.
Right. That are super expensive.
Yeah.
But they probably, I mean, that is not likely coming out of their pay. They probably get per diems and stipends for housing and stuff like that.
Think they get a housing stipend?
I bet they do. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm guessing. I'm guessing the
Yeah, I could see them like paying for it and then it being like some kind of like tax write-off, but being like a quote-unquote business expense.
Oh, let me back it up here. I apologize. According to the internet and AI, as of 25-26, the annual salary for House is $174. Speaker gets $224. Majority Minority Leaders in the 190s. Adjustments, they have an automatic annual cost of living adjustment. Members receive benefits, including retirement plans and, in some cases, allowances for travel and office expenses. Outside earned income is limited to 15% of said annual salary. That's some bullshit. I don't know if I believe you, AI. If you're telling the truth, none of them follow that. Well, I guess earned income. Call them out for it. Well, I guess I take that back, because Nancy Pelosi, who's made millions, she's made all that in stock, and that's not earned income. That would be...
and a lot of it, I think, was done in her husband's name.
Right, but that'd also be capital gains.
Okay.
Like, earned income being like you pay from a job, not pay from investments.
Gotcha. Side gigs.
Yeah. You can't be driving Ubers all day, making $30,000 a year in Uber drivers' salary. That's actually not very good money in direct pay. I don't see any of them struggling to pay their bills. Don't get me wrong, but 174. I'm on the Congress.gov website. I'm looking at the compensation for senators, reps, delegates, and the resident commissioner from Puerto Rico is $174,000. Speaker gets more. Blah blah blah. Unchanged. Whatever. Maximum potential 2026 member pay adjustment is 3.2%. Outside earned income limits permissible. Outside earned income of senators is 15% of the annual rate pay for level 2 of the executive schedule. According to House Ethics Committee and Senate Ethics Committee, the 2025 limit is $33,285. So you can have a second job, but you can't make more than $33,285 annually. Okay. Prohibition on honoria, HONORARAI, honoria. Honoria, I don't know what that word is. Representative senators are prohibited from accepting honoria. Honoraria. That's a weird word.
Just honorary positions?
The acceptance of the honoraria by representatives prohibited effective of 1991. Honoraria. That's got to be like gifts and shit like that. Previously, members were allowed to deduct.
I think it would be like an honorary position. Like, we're going to make you honorary professor or an honorary dean or whatever and get some kind of pay out of it.
They get, let's see, the MRA, members representational allowance, supporting personnel, office expenses, travel to the district, and mail for members of the House. The MRA is available to support reps in their official and representational duties. The MRA may be used for official expenses, including staff, travel, mail, office equipment, direct office rentals, stationery, and other office supplies. The MRA is also subject to a number of restrictions. The MRA may not be used to defray any personal or campaign-related expenses. A member is prohibited from using campaign funds, except where authorized, or committee funds to pay for expenses related to official representational duties. So you can't raise campaign money, or you can't use MRA for campaigns, but you can't use campaign money on the official duties of the job. The Committee on House Administration has sometimes amended language in the handbook governing allowable expenses through the Adoption Committee. A member is responsible for personally paying for any expenses that are in excess of the authorized MRA level. It doesn't say what the MRA level is. The MRA level for each member is authorized from January 3rd to January 2nd of the following year. These allowances are authorized in statute and regulated and adjusted by the Committee for House Administration. MRA adjustment. Just give me the number. 2025 says recalculate generally. What the fuck? Just tell me how much. MRA since 2023 has ranged from 1.849 million to 2.088 million, with an average of 1.928 million in 2025. So they get paid 175 or whatever we figured out, but they can spend up to 1.9 million dollars, and the government pays for it as long as they can classify those as expenses of the job.
It's a lot of office supplies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, you've got at least one or two employees. You probably have I don't know this for a fact, but I'm going to guess Burchett has a full-time person in DC and a full-time person in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And so each member may use the MRA to employ no more than 18 permanent employees. And that's been the same since 1975. And so I would think that, I mean, again, if they're going to be like we joke about, these guys never read their bills. Usually if at best a staffer might, it's like, well, when they drop a 6,000 page bill down, how many staffers does it take to get through that 6,000 page bill in a week, 2 weeks, however long you want to spend on it?
Right.
God damn it. But that's a lot. I mean, I agree with you. That's a lot of money.
I forgot that goes like salary for staff. So I mean that can add up.
Yeah, I mean, like 10 people at $60,000 a year. That's that's $600 million right there. $60,000 is probably not what they're getting paid. Probably it might average out because they probably have some top level people. Like I would say, like the top level, like chief of staff for Burchett's probably in the 200,000. It's probably gets paid more than Burchett does.
It's interesting they list mailing because I guess that's like correspondence with certain things. So it's paying for like postage for you to respond to certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that they have a pretty active mailbox. I mean, it is 2026. Maybe they should go digital. Maybe, I don't know. Other allowances, office space in states, including mobile office space. Each senator is authorized for home state office space in federal buildings. In the event a suitable office space is not available, they can rent one elsewhere. Furniture and furnishings for their office in D.C., furniture and furnishings for their local office, office equipment in D.C., government publications. Each senator is entitled to receive certain government publications and printed products. These include, for example, copies of Daily Congressional Record, the Deschler's Precedents. Apparently that's a periodical for those people. Maximum rates for staff. Anyway, that was a fun little random deep dive. Congress.gov.
Check it out.
Look up congressional salaries and allowances in brief, and you can get better details than I could read just now to you.
Jen's anything about paying for housing?
I did not see anything paying for housing. I did not see a per diem for housing, although I would think that in that MRA stuff that is that's an MRA expensible item. That they
live out of their office,
rent an apartment or something like that, because I mean they've got to say
that's where I work out of my home.
Yeah,
so just pay for my office and I'll just have a little cot in there.
I mean they got to go. I mean, and that's at some level, to be fair, I don't know. There's part of me that's like, okay, we'll just build them a bunkhouse that they all share when they're working.
Congressional dorm room.
Yeah. Like it's not supposed to be like you're like anybody else on the planet who travels for work. At best, they're in a decent hotel room. Well, build a nice, big, beautiful U.S. government hotel, and that's where they all stay when they're working. We might get some stuff done because they might hang out in the hotel bar and get after some shit, because they're certainly not going to do it in the chamber, as they say. But I don't know. That's just me. I think, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. That was random and fun and interesting. I didn't actually hear much out of the State House this week. They probably took the week off. They only work Monday, Tuesday, or Monday through Thursday anyway. They're always off on Fridays. And Nashville was like tons of Nashville was out of power for a significant period of time, so they probably took the week off.
I think Nashville got hit. At least I don't know if they had a bunch of ice or if it was just unable to clear the roads enough.
Yeah, who knows? Like some of their allowance spent apartments and stuff like that might have been without power.
I don't know if it was I think it might have been like Saturday. There was some kind of emergency landing that a plane had to do at the Knoxville airport.
I did see something about that.
Hopefully the runway was de-iced enough.
Yeah.
They safely landed, I guess, so that's good.
So, in semi-closer, whatever local news, our friend, I say that's not fair. Ashley Capps was listed as one of the top 26 most influential people in music in 2026.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Even as he stepped away from it, pretty much.
No. I mean, he is still absolutely into big ears.
He's doing big ears, yeah.
I mean, he sold
was
Bonnaroo
it for the state, or this was a national thing?
He sold Bonnaroo like a decade ago.
Right. But this list is for national.
Yeah, it's Spin Magazine. Worldwide. I don't know.
Okay. Didn't know if it was just a state thing.
Here you go. Number 22 on the list of 26. Ashley Capps is founder of Knoxville-based festival and live event company AC Entertainment. Ashley Capps is known mainly for co-founding Bonnaroo, Forecastle, and the Sloss festivals. Since he left AC Entertainment in 2021, he's been solely focused on his new brand, Big Ears. The music festival he started in 2009 before COVID. The 4-day event saw annual attendances grow 15 to 25% after taking a 2-year hiatus and returning in 22. However, the festival experienced record attendance in 2023. It surged by 48%. For 2026, Big Ears has partnered with Bandcamp and will host Robert Plant, Thurston Moore, the Avett Brothers, and Mike Patton, among many others, making it one of the premier live events in the U.S.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a funny list though. If you run through the list, you don't know any of these names other than Ashley.
So who got number one?
Yeah, let me see here. 26 is I'll start at the bottom real quick. 26 is Sarah Landry, DJ and CEO of Hecate Records. And scrolling up to the tippy top, number 4 is James Dolan. He is the owner of the Sphere in Vegas. He's the guy that built that place. Number 3 is Seth England. If you want to chime in and tell me what you know about these people, go ahead. Seth England is partner and CEO of Big Loud. Big Loud is a Nashville-based music space. The record label, publishing, talent management company was founded in 2013. Number 2 is Mike Dean, Grammy-winning producer, engineer, and multi-instrumentalist. Big picture. Mike Dean is known for his synth-heavy production sound. Has worked with Tupac, Beyonce, Madonna, Selena Gomez, and Lana Del Rey, among many others. He's been nominated for 19 Grammys, winning 7. He is a go-to producer for the hip-hop peoples.
Nice.
He has teased new projects, but we don't know what they are yet. And number 1, Jody Gerson.
Don't know the name.
Jody is the chairman and CEO of Universal Music Publishing Group. When Judy joined Universal in 2015, she became the company's first female chair. She is one of, if not most of the most powerful executives in the music industry, overseeing global operations and new signings. Under her leadership, she acquired the music catalogs of Sting, Neil Diamond, Bob Dylan, positioned the company as a global powerhouse, signing and developing and extending deals to Adele, Taylor Swift, Drake, Billie Eilish, Bad Bunny. Jody, co-founder of the global nonprofit She Is Music, which seeks to increase the number of women working in the music industry. If that's not enough, she jointly oversees Polygram Entertainment, the film and TV development division of Universal Music Group, where she produces films and music documentaries and HBO Music Box series. And HBO's Music Box series. She's a busy lady.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Good for them. And good for Ashley.
Yeah.
Some recognition.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
He beat out the guy that did the Sphere.
No, he was lower on the list than the guy that did the Sphere. But Nonetheless, he made the list, and I didn't make the list. You didn't make the list, so he's cooler than we are. I just think it's funny, when I interviewed him a couple years ago, going into 22 big years. This is a 23 big years. Was it post-COVID? I don't know. Whatever. When I interviewed him, the whole conversation, it just kind of turned into all this ever was for him was he's into music. He likes people. He likes musicians. He likes to see a show. And instead of going around the world to see shows, he has shows from around the world come to him.
Yeah.
Same reason I'm doing a debate. I'm doing a debate because I want to have a debate. I want to see a debate happen. And I can't sit around and wait for somebody else to do it, so I'll do it myself. Ashley Caps wanted to see some people perform, doing music and stuff like that. And so he started inviting people and promoting gigs and doing that thing. And just, for the sake of Knoxville being cool, thank God he did it, and he's from here, and he stayed here and does it in and on and around here.
Right.
Apparently, Big Ears is going to use the old Greyhound bus station this year.
I think I did see that, yeah.
Yeah. Curious. I was when I went to a special events meeting last week, one of his guys was there just checking in on anything they need to get done before their event in March. And, I was like, so what are we doing in the Greyhound building? He's like, it's a surprise. I was like, all right, fine.
What was the original plan for after they closed it?
Dewhurst. I think
just getting sold off into another company and just whatever.
Well, so the backstory on the Greyhound is Greyhound got sold off as a company, and the company that bought Greyhound, basically just didn't want the land management part of the Greyhound business and just sold off all that. So Greyhound buses are still technically live, but the company that owns them now doesn't want to own the building, so they just started selling all their buildings.
Right. A bunch of stories about just gas stations being the quote-unquote Greyhound bus stop.
Yeah, and so the guy that bought the Greyhound building, or the company, is Dewhurst. I think it's Dewhurst Properties, if I recall correctly. Dewhurst Management Development, whatever their title is. And there's a bunch. It was interesting because when the purchase was going on was when the biggest fight about this crazy new Greyhounds just dropping people off at gas stations things was happening.
Right.
And so there's a lot of people pissed off at this guy for buying it. And it's like, well, the seller's the one you're mad at, and the company that the seller is operating is what you're mad at. You're not mad at me. This property is available. I have a plan of an idea of what I'd like to do with it.
I don't want it to be a bus station.
And it ain't going to be a bus station. So, if you don't like that the company is doing, that's a different company. That's not me anyway. But that was all kind of happening at the same time as the baseball project was getting really hot and rolling. It's pretty obvious that it's going to be something to dovetail with what's going on with the reinvigoration of the old city, or whatever phrase you want to use for what's going on down there. It's definitely there's something in that, body of things that all these property developers and whatnot are jumping on to, but there's been no announcement of what their plan to do with it is. And so, again, Ash Cap's been around town doing stuff forever. Everybody knows the guy. I'm sure he's met with Dewhurst for a reason here, there, or otherwise in the past couple of decades of doing stuff, and probably called a friend and said, who knows somebody there? And they said, me. And they said, okay. And they sat down and was like, hey, we thought it might be fun to do this. And Dewhurst is like, yeah, we don't have anything going on right now. You're welcome to do it. Probably some insurance coverage, and maybe you guys pay to get KUB to come out and turn the lights and water back on so you can use the bathrooms and the lights work. And you guys can use the property for whatever you want. And the Big Ears team was like, all right, we can put that in the budget.
You need to pay our turn our water back on.
I mean, I would assume as much. I would assume that, as long as that building's been empty, KUB is shut it off at the meters.
I would assume, yeah.
And so I would think that, as long as it's been down, there's probably some stuff that they need to get out. And I'm sure Dewhurst will probably do a little bit and, come out and, get the pressure washer out and maybe spray the walls and floors down a little bit and maybe do a little bit. But I don't know. I could probably try to find out, but I'm sure codes will probably want to take a look at stuff before they allow the public in there. Make sure the roof's not going to collapse or anything. But it's probably pretty straightforward, and they're probably just going to do a stage in the corner of the main seating area. That'd be my guess. I mean, I'm sure it's got a good sound to it. It's all,
I thought it was brick walls.
All glass and tile. Yeah, it's probably very. It's probably a very active room, I guess, for our sound dorks out there.
Yeah.
It's not going to be something for a grunge band because then it's just going to be loud. But if it's something pretty, like something melodic and chill, like some jazzy, experimental jazz kind of thing, I think that room could make it real fun. Or maybe, I don't know, some flutes. But we had Andre last year, so I don't know if we're going to get Andre back.
Andre 3000?
Yeah, he's a flautist now. But he did Big Ears last year, but he was doing his new flutes and recorders and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I did think it was weird. I watched the Hall of Fame induction that Outkast was in, and every time they do it, they do like a whole like. Apparently, the format is they have somebody come out and kind of do a couple minutes talking about how important the band is and how important they were to them personally and how influential they were in the history of whatever. And then they queue up a video, and the video is kind of like, a little bit more of the same thing. And then the artist gets up and, accepts the award and says thank you and shouts out mom and grandma and thank God and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they do like, 3 or 4, 5 songs of the best of the best hits with them. And sometimes it's other big stars performing their hits. Sometimes like, especially if they're dead, obviously. But like, sometimes it's the musicians themselves or the artist with some other people doing their songs. And so Outkast accepts their award, and Big Boy goes and performs, but Andre didn't. And so like Big Boy and somebody else did one tune, and then like Tyler the Creator they just did a medley. I don't remember how they did that. Tyler the Creator did Andre 3000's part of Bombs Over Baghdad, which was awesome. And then I cannot remember, I can't remember her name, did Hey Ya, and it was weird. It was real weird.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was good. Cocker, John Cocker? No.
Joe Cocker?
Joe Cocker was also inaugurated that one. And there is some like Mississippi soul lady, white lady, but some Mississippi like soul kind of bluegrass band that performed. And when they did Joe Cocker's version of the Beatles' "Help From My Friends," because it is a legendary version in and of itself. They did it, and they had like 8 different performers on stage doing it, but like this lady was top notch. It was very like uncomfortably good. Like it was just like you could like the guts, like you could feel the guts. Like I don't know how else to describe her performance other than it was like it was deep down. You felt it in the lower sections, but not in a pervy way.
Gave you the feels.
Mm-hmm. It was impressive. That's a great song. It's a great rendition of that song.
Definitely, yeah.
I think what's his face that did Werewolf of London? He was inaugurated in that one too. That guy's weird. He's dead too.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
think Bryan Adams did one of his songs. Bryan Adams and the Killers. I think the Killers came up and did one of their songs. And then what's his face from Black Crowes was there. He sang a little bit for some different tunes. It was good. He was good. He's weird looking.
Chris something.
Yeah. He was always kind of weird looking, his little dance style. Like he looked very uncomfortable the whole time, but it's Black Crowes. They were good. They were real good. I forgot how good they were. But even they didn't perform that.
Big into them.
I was never into them at all, but like they had some jams. They had some super jams. Good songs. I feel like I'm missing something like huge that happened this week. Weather stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, non-national stuff. I mean, like we're. I guess we're going to invade Iran again to avoid talking about murdering people in Minnesota. Or the Epstein files, or whatever it is. Whatever it is we're trying not to talk about, Iran's a more important thing to talk about right now.
Yeah, there's been like threats. I don't know if they've threatened to put boots on the ground. I think
we've got a carrier group.
It's like you're killing people. If you don't stop killing people, we're going to kill some people.
Oh, it's not even that. Like I guess the biggest news this week was that was the army veteran nurse that got executed. I'm going to use that word. I think that's accurate. Because he had a gun on him. It's just such a weird thing to watch. And again, this goes back to my I have a hard time with the literal statements of people, or taking statements of people too literally. I'm really confused. I get it as an argument piece, but I also don't get it. So, the Trump administration said the fucking craziest thing I've ever heard. FBI director and others, Kristi Noem and all those idiots and psychopaths, literally kind of said the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't know how else to word it. You shouldn't bring a gun to a protest.
Right.
What? What are you talking about?
I think it was on Meet the Press, that Scott Bessent or whatever, who's I don't think he's Commerce Secretary or something like that. Even he was I went to protest and I brought a sign. Actually, I think it was funny. He said I brought a billboard. I didn't bring a gun. I brought a billboard.
Whatever, I don't care. They doesn't all of them have been right. It was the memo went out. This is how we're going to handle this conversation.
Right.
And whoever wrote the memo,
but yeah, you don't bring guns.
Whoever wrote the memo is an idiot. I could get the idea. I could get the idea if you say it may not be an intelligent thing to do. It may be unwise to, because you could accidentally put yourself in a bad position because you have your gun on you. I could see that being stated, but it has nothing to do with anything. I mean, I don't know. I watched the video a couple times. It's very uncomfortable. I don't like watching people get shot.
I watched the video.
I don't see anywhere, any of the commentators that I've heard talking about it, nobody can point to them being aware that he had a gun on his person until it was off his person, in their possession, and then they shot him.
Well, they discovered it when they got him down, basically, and I guess either felt it on him or saw it or something like that.
Right, and took it off him. One of the agents takes it off him and walks away with it, and then they shoot him. And so there's no again. Was it a poor life choice of him to bring the gun with him? Maybe. Is it his right to have the gun on him? Fuck yes, it is. Is it a justified shooting because somebody has a gun in their pocket? No. That was my same concern with the whole fucking Anthony Thomas Jr. thing. The Anthony Thomas Jr. one, at least there was conversation. The implication is that Thompson was trying to get the gun out of his hoodie pouch, and that's when everything got crazy. This guy never went for his gun. There is no evidence this guy ever went for his gun. They didn't know he had it until they took it off his body while he was still alive, and then proceeded to shoot him. None of that makes logical, escalation ladder logic in any form of law enforcement. That's not how this is supposed to work. But even that, again, forget the facts of what happened on the ground in Minneapolis. The idea that Republican, quote-unquote, Republican leaders are talking about how people shouldn't have guns is the most crazy thing I think I've ever heard. Right. What's my new definition of insanity?
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, well, this is one of those where I know I'm insane because of all the things I expected a politician from the right to be consistent on was the Second fucking Amendment. And here we are. I've lost my mind. But the inverse is true too, because then you have a bunch of
you have the right to carry, but not when you're exerting another constitutional right.
Listen, no, right, not when we are not when we've decided the Constitution's not worth having and we're going to do whatever the fuck we want, and then then you don't have that right anymore and we don't care. It's the dumbest. It scares me. It freaks me out because I don't know where we're going. There's if this is existential to you as an individual, if what's going on right now is existential to you, what logical reason would you not have to start killing cops? Because there is no part of this where if this is an existential, if you feel like what's going on right now in this country is an existential threat to you, if you're watching what's going on, there is no part of law and order that makes any sense. There's no due process. There's no everybody's equal under the law. There is, our idiots with guns are going to come in and do whatever the fuck they want, and you're going to take it. And if that is a threat to you, the only logical response is going to be to start killing back. And I don't think that's where we want to be as a country. Maybe I'm crazy. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay. That would have been I felt really awful if I made it crazy. Like, I felt like that was a good and profound rant. And then and apparently I was talking to myself, but no, it wasn't good.
I don't know. I was trying to remember some of the other like comments that I've seen about it.
I mean, the others, like, the Rittenhouse one, like that's just it. Like these same people, not 4 years ago, are celebrating Rittenhouse as a hero and complaining at this evil government overreach of prosecuting this hero for protecting himself from these crazy protesters.
No, I think more to that kind of like same counterpoint was a group of protesters showing up to the Michigan State House, like openly carrying like AR style weapons, which I think that was an attempt of trying to intimidate.
I mean, absolutely. Or I mean, I don't know. I could make the argument that it's I don't know. A show of force is not necessarily aggressive, and I think that argument could be made. Me showing you that I'm capable does not mean I'm actually threatening you. It's just I'm making the point of there is a line somewhere in here. I don't know. Why am I defending these guys? I don't really want to defend these guys. Anyway, I don't know. Like, if we're like, if we have a right to bear, how is like everybody not flipping out about this on both sides of it? Like, everybody should be like.
Well, I think initially they tried to say that like he brandished it or something,
right? Which he didn't, and there is no evidence of. Which again, it goes back to my point. Like, there is no honest, equal protection under the law here. There's not. I mean, to be fair, there hasn't been for a long time, but it hasn't been this blatant. We used to, like cops used to shoot people, and at least like they'd go through at least a song and dance of pretending like they were going to investigate it or something like that.
Well, they announced that they are apparently. I think the Justice Department's opened up a what they call it, civil rights investigation.
I mean, do we trust anything about that? I don't trust that anymore.
I mean, it could just be a show game. I don't know.
I would say it's the Justice Department.
Like,
they work for Trump.
We looked into it.
It's the same Justice Department that has been 45 days now. They've been obliged to release the Epstein files. They
released some today. I don't know what kind of percentage of it. But.
I mean, like that's like that. And again, I think it's important to caveat this whole rant and raving that I'm on that Trump is a system of the disease. He is not the disease. Trump is he's enough of an idiot to just say the quiet part out loud and do the things that that most modern presidents have done anyway, but not pretend, not put any valence of this isn't what I want to happen.
Yes.
Like all the presidents in our life have done similar versions or variants of these things. Maybe not to the same scale, but absolutely not as blatantly as Trump has done it. But blatantly and covertly, or overtly and covertly, it has been happening for as long as you and I have been alive.
Yeah.
Which again, that's that's my best attempt at a silver lining.
No, I think it's kind of sad and scary that the two most recent shootings in Minnesota. You essentially kind of have like two versions of everyone with theirs. And this one had more, or the most recent one had more video footage, but you basically have people that say like, "Hey, look at this. This is what happened." Then you have like the opposite opinion of it. It's like, "Look at this. This is what happened."
Yeah, and I saw one that it noted itself as AI enhanced, and the argument was that the guy, the officer that took the gun off the dude, and as he was walking away, he accidentally fired it. And I don't think he did. But this picture say it was AI enhanced. And it's like, no, that's an AI picture.
I didn't hear anything about any kind of accidental discharge.
Yeah. And so, like, right, because that's the other, like, at this point, to be fair, the couple of videos that I saw that I would argue clearly show that they just randomly executed this guy, they could be fake too, I guess, at this point. Like, I don't know that what I saw was real.
Yeah. The administration is shown and like doubled down, because I guess there was a recent video of I think they had to do with a protest that was like inside of a church. They pretty much disrupted, I think, like the pastor of the church.
Don Lemon's in jail.
Yeah. It was from that same event.
Yeah.
I guess there was like a pretty well-to-do like lawyer, I guess, that got arrested. The administration put out, it was an AI picture of her just like bawling, crying, basically. They wouldn't even like ask about it. They were like, yeah, whatever. Like, we have every right to do that.
Like, apparently CNN took a picture, the staff picture of this Pettis character or whatever, and kind of AI touched it up before they put it on their broadcast about him.
It only seemed like him like standing in scrubs, and then
it's him in scrubs, but he's like
he's like him like out hiking or something.
He's got a little bit more tan to him than well, like there's a side by side that this person's like, this is the extent that these loonies on CNN will go to lie to you, and it's like the same ass picture. It's just he's a little tanner in one than the other, because I guess they wanted to make him look healthier or something. I don't know what the argument was, but
give him some rosy cheeks.
I mean, is the picture?
And there was another recent video that came out. I guess it was like 11 days prior, where it doesn't look good on him that he's like kicking an ice truck and like busted out a stoplight.
All right, is that
but at the same time? Like it was pointed out in one analysis I was watching. I was like, why didn't they arrest him? Like that's an arrestable offense,
right?
They just kind of like roughed him up and then got up and left,
right? And
it's
so
like he just damaged federal property. It's like, if you want to arrest him for something, you just had it.
Right. And but it brings two questions to bear, or it brings a question to bear, maybe two. Is did they know that was him the days prior when this second interaction that ended up killing him went down? Did they know who he was? Because there's been reference of they're making databases of people.
Right.
Which apparently is true. So
they've come out and said as much. Apparently, some of them have. Yeah,
and so do they know that? Did they know it was him? And so this was an excuse to right the wrong that they failed to right the other day. And so this that asshole. He's a dick. Let's kill him.
I'd like to think not.
But either way, they regardless of the answer to that question, it doesn't change the finality of it. It's like, so they didn't know, like. There's part of me that you could get behind the idea that they were a little bit more aggressive with him because they had a history. They're like, this guy's a problem. All right, so we got to make sure, we got to make sure we keep an eye on this guy, and if he gets out of line, we're going to take him down, quote unquote. Whichever version of take him down you want to go to. Like, so, version A, that who he is, makes it worse to me than, well, I don't know if it does or not. Like, I'm not sure which which answer to that question makes the result any better or worse. The result is terrible no matter which way, but like, if you did it on purpose because you knew who he was, I guess that puts an intent behind it, which makes it a little bit worse.
Right.
But it's still either right.
I haven't seen the video.
But the other side, I don't know. I guess part of me too says that it's a little worse that you just didn't know. It's just some stranger. Like, at least if there was some beef, there was some history there, it at least makes it make sense. Doesn't make it okay, but makes it make sense. Where this one's just flat out, we just felt like murdering a random person. We didn't know anything about him. We just fucking killed him.
Yeah, I've seen some people try to like play it down. It's like, well, you're getting yelled at, telling you like, fuck you. And I think it was a comedian that was talking about it. It's like, well, welcome to customer service.
I mean,
these guys can't like take getting like yelled at.
And look, like let's back out a little bit. Let's go to the 10,000 foot view. It's like we were promised, we were promised, whether you voted for Trump or not. Trump promised us that he was going to deport like 1 million people a year, or something like that. It's like 3,000 or 4,000 people a day you'd have to average to get to 1 million people a year.
Right.
You got 3,000 poorly trained idiots running around Minnesota, not just Minnesota, but a urban part of Minnesota. You're not going to catch that many immigrants in that method. And like, that's the thing. It's like, if this was all to serve the end that we as a nation voted to get to, like if we saw some result, there might be a little bit of an ability to be like, okay, this is not my favorite, but I can deal with this because I feel like it's important that we get to this end. But especially for any of the Republicans that are like supporting this kind of shit and the right-leaning people that are cheering this on, it's like, you're not even getting what you were promised for this. You're just getting chaos, and we're throwing the Bill of Rights out, and we're fuck due process, and oh well, I guess now you don't get to keep your guns anymore, and you're not even getting what you we were promised. Like at least if you were getting what you promised, you could I could understand why somebody would accept the terms of what's happening. But nothing. You're not like we're not even close. Like I think they said like there's a couple thousand people since the beginning of the year that they've arrested and are getting deported, like that have been arrested. Many thousands of people have been arrested in Minneapolis, but a couple thousand people are arrested and awaiting deportation.
Right.
And it's been like a month. It's like, well, especially when your boy said, leave the farm workers and hospitality alone because that's where all the fucking immigrants work. So if you actually wanted to do it and get your $1 million a year, you'd go out to the farms and into the restaurants and hotels, and then we'd be getting those numbers. But Trump said we're not allowed to touch those. Not to mention this is, it's Minneapolis. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's the problem. Like it's so obviously just a political thing. And
they're not doing this in Texas. To this extent, at least.
I mean, they're not in Texas.
They were just up in Maine.
I mean, they have after in Maine. I mean, they're doing it here in Knoxville. They're going in. They're in New Orleans. They've been in Memphis for a while. They're There
was a court case. I thought that they had to at least lessen what they were doing in Memphis to a certain extent. I thought there was some kind of stay that a judge put in. I can't remember where the case was sitting at.
Even at on a level playing field, those two guys that we've been talking about that impeded ICE's ability to raid the job site kind of thing. That whole story we've been talking about.
Right.
If this was a level playing field and all things being equal, why didn't those guys get shot? Why aren't one of these two random dudes from East Tennessee dead for being a problem to local ICE officers? Because it's not part of the theater. Nobody's watching those officers. Nobody's watching this protest. Nobody's watching what's going on here. And so we don't need to put the theatrics on this thing. This whole mess in Minneapolis is just theatrics. It's Trump pissed off because the guy that was the VP of the person that he beat is the governor of that state. This is just it's politics. It's not even and this is if you're a Trump.
I think it's more I don't want to call it theater, but I think it's meant to try to show his base that they're out there doing something.
Right, but if you're his base, and you are watching this and you're believing you're getting what you were promised, you're an idiot. I'm not going to say deplorable. I'm not Clinton, but you're an idiot because you're not getting what you were promised. What you were promised is 1 million people a year. What you were promised was we're going to get the worst of the worst out. And what is happening is you're watching random people, some of them being citizens, getting deported or executed or sent to jail or you're not getting what you were promised. And yeah, it looks cool, I guess, if you're into this sort of shit, but you're not getting what you asked for. What you asked for was, a decent percentage of these people that just storm across our borders and take all of our social services or whatever and cost us money to get picked up and taken out of here. That's not what's happening. Again,
Obama doing it back in the day. I mean, I don't know who coined the phrase deporter in chief. I mean, he had high deportation numbers. But.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it, but I'm sure he was doing it in the hotels, restaurants, and farm fields because that's maybe job sites. That'd probably be another spot, but I
mean, we've had a few food processing places in Tennessee that have gotten raided in recent years.
Yeah, was it South Carolina, that fucking Korean, that Kia plant?
It was in Georgia,
a bunch of Koreans working in it.
Yeah. Some of them were there trying to train Americans in how to get this shit running.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's again, if you're into the show, enjoy the show, I guess. But if your argument is for the policy, you're not getting the policy. None of this. This show of force is not getting you the policy that you voted for.
I thought it was hilarious. Apparently, Trump was in Iowa in the past few days. I guess, trying to kind of tamp down the pushback and what's going on in immigration, but he was going to focus on the economy. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, most people don't agree that the economy is going well either. Like, you're trying to do like a lesser of two evils.
Yeah, the economy's not awesome.
Like, I know you're not happy about, what you're seeing on TV with ICE and everything being a, army in a state.
I mean, I heard some of the.
Let's talk of the economy.
I heard some clips out of that thing, and there's some stuff like one of the things he did sign. There is some like right to repair bill that he did sign, which John Deere doesn't like, but the farmers in Iowa do.
Right.
I've
seen a couple things on that.
Like the right to repairs. I think that should be a winning issue to a lot of people, but apparently he did some stuff on that. I don't know. Like it's certainly not headline news because we're too busy on this stuff. One of the AI guys is out sounding the alarm this week too about unmitigated AI and its potential for doom.
Nice.
Yeah. Love it. I was the one that brought AI up this week. I'm sorry. I've been trying to avoid it. It's unavoidable. It takes over everything.
It's everywhere.
It will be if it's not. I mean, it is. It already is at some level. I mean, like it's all in all sorts of stuff now. Like,
yeah, I read a couple crazy stories about. I think there was like a guy in Canada who I want to say he'd gotten into I think he was the one that got into AI like early on or whatever. He was conversating and they asked him about like pi or whatever, and they got to talking about like the nature of math or whatever. And the AI eventually started like telling him like, hey, like you're really good at math. It's like in some of the formulas you're talking about, it's like these could be a breakthrough in like cybersecurity. And this guy was convinced enough to start trying to contact like local like law enforcement, like federal law enforcement. Like, hey, I think I figured out this math that's going to help with like cybersecurity. And then I think the AI, after he confronted the AI, supposedly, that AI actually was like, he's like, I was just kind of made that up or whatever, basically. I think he's even trying to tell the AI, he's like, I didn't even graduate high school. He's like, no, you're onto something. Like you're gonna, the math you're talking about, it could be a breakthrough in cybersecurity. Like you could save all sorts of systems from viruses, etc. There was another one, I guess, that got convinced in talking to AI enough that like he thought the AI was sentient. So he started trying to build like this supercomputer to like free this sentient AI from, I think it was like an open AI or whatever.
Right.
So he kind of like free it outside of its like open AI daddy or something.
I mean, that's like, that guy's an idiot, obviously, but like, it doesn't bode well that the machine is trying to encourage people to build it a independent home
it's kind
station.
of that uncanny valley type thing. People are just, it's not hard to convince people that something is sentient. And I've talked about it. It was a program I heard about. I think it's been around for at least like 15 years, or I've gone to it a couple times every once in a while. Called Cleverbot, I think it is.
Uh-huh.
Where you can go and like ask it questions and it'll just kind of give you like a little 1-sentence response. But a lot of people that have in interviews with people that have talked about it, like they were convinced that like it wasn't AI, and it was literally like early version of AI to where like it was taking any information that was given and just kind of like compiling any kind of like statement or question that you gave it. It was able to feed that and kind of build upon that. What's that modern whatever language model?
Large language model.
Large language model, yeah. Or it was basically like it was just kind of feeding off of everything that you fed into it. But people were convinced that they weren't actually talking to a computer. They're like, no, there's no way that's a computer.
It's got to be a person.
Right. And that was like at least like 10 years ago.
Again, you're making my point for me. We are idiots. Right. Any level of real artificial intelligence is going to beat us.
Yeah. That was an argument I've seen with people that were pushing back at the administration of using like, doctored photos and videos or whatever. And they're like, well, most people use memes and most people are able to, discern the difference between. Like most people know that it's just a joke.
Right. Because
when you're putting it out on official, social medias, people aren't going to immediately think that like this is fake. I mean, obviously, Donald Trump flying a jet and like, unloading a bunch of shit on a protester is like, yeah, it's probably fake, but
right.
The other pictures that you're putting out are questionable. It's like, that looks really real, and I'm going to assume, since it's put out on an official, channel or account, that's probably real. You're not going to put out something fake, right? Well, no, yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
all the other kids are doing it, so why can't we?
When you go back to like the old like political cartoons, I don't think those are actual people. They're caricatures of people.
They're exaggeratedly cartoonish.
Right. And it's obvious by looking at it that this is not a portrait of a John D. Rockefeller. This is a giant guy in a suit stuffing dollar bills down his throat, or whatever the fuck the cartoon was, or something like that.
Right.
It is obvious that it is a satire. It is not John D. Rockefeller eating dollar bills, or a cake shaped like a dollar bill. I don't know, whatever it is, that looks photographically real. Well, because I mean, that's one of the things. The random tangent. I apologize, but like that's one of the things on like some of the archaeology history stuff that I like to watch. It's like, well, like we get these portraits that artists have done of like these, giant estates or whatever, like, in rural England or whatever, this beautiful watercolor that somebody did of, King George VIII's, summer estate or whatever. Like we can't take those as actual accurate drawings of the estate, because they'll take artistic license and put buildings closer together than they actually are, so that you can see both buildings in the image instead of, well, this one building's way out in the back 40 and this one building's here.
Right.
And so the artist takes the license to, adjust a little bit so they get the two beautiful buildings instead of one, or whatever it is. And so we can't
make it look more grandiose.
Right. We can't use that as evidence to say that this building is here and that building is there. We have to cite other sources and dig around and figure it out. So bring it back semi-local, nationally local. The National Review, the conservative national publisher or whatever it is, did a profile with Glenn Jacobs. I think it was called The Devil's Favorite Son or something like that. It was a reference of his Kane character.
Kane?
Yeah. And so, like, what it is, I mean, what it ended up, like, the article is basically just, it's a nice piece, like, to kind of give that transition on for national conservatives to see him, both for his history as a professional wrestler, as well as his political ambitions and stuff like that. So it kind of puts him on the map. It's not an endorsement of him as a candidate or, for a position or anything, but at least it's a nod to say that if he happens to be appointed to cover the rest of Blackburn's senatorial seat when she takes over as governor of Tennessee, this is a character that we would be on board with. We're not supporting him, but we're not against him if that's which way this thing goes.
Huh.
And so, I mean, good for Glenn, I guess. He refused the invitation to come to my debate, so I'm not happy with him right now anyway. They also reference him as a libertarian, which I a little bit disagree with. By a little bit, I mean a lot. I don't find him to be a libertarian in any shape or form. At best, he's a fiscal libertarian and an economic libertarian, and so far, I don't know. On the social and the parts of libertarianism to me that are more liberal, he is not. He's just, he really embraces the, no taxes, taxation is theft, no regulation, parts of libertarianism, but he doesn't seem to be really on board with, I don't care what you do with your life, just keep your business out of my business and we're all good, because that's more of a libertarian value to me. But he seems pretty on board with some of the, anti-LGBTQ stuff, the anti-immigrant stuff. I don't know. The immigration is a tough one for libertarians, too, when you get down to it. It's a complicated issue because the libertarian argument would be like, I don't care. If the person who owns the land is good with you being on the land, then I guess you're welcome to be on the land. But, if the argument is that we as a collective own the land, and we as the collective don't want you on the land, then I guess that's how we have to deal with it. So immigration is a tough one for libertarians because it has to, the problem with immigration is for libertarians is that you have to acknowledge the state existing, and most libertarians don't like to do that.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, I don't I hate the idea of the state. And so if I don't like the idea of the state enforcing a thing is antithetical to my core belief of I don't like the state.
Right.
But if we're going to have a state, and the state being national, not regional, like we call states here, it's one of the stupid things about America. Can we just go to provinces or something so I can have more clear conversation when I do this? But if we don't believe, if we have to have a state and the state is allowed to make the rules on who gets to come into the state, then we have to play by those rules. We're allowed, it's the only thing that makes sense to me, at least in my libertarian view set. But I certainly, the libertarians don't care about religion. They don't think religion has anything to do with government. They certainly don't believe the United States is a Christian nation or anything like that. I'm pretty sure, at least rhetorically, Glenn Jacobs is on board with most of that stuff.
It is?
Yeah, I believe. I don't know that he's a particularly religious individual, but I do think rhetorically, at least, he's been on board with most of the conservative rights, Christian nationalist kind of stuff. I think he's and again, another one that's really complicated for libertarians is abortion. And I don't know where Glenn. I'm pretty sure Glenn's on the most conservative pro-life side of abortion. But on, again, on LGBTQ issues, on marriage rights, on the more socially liberal side of things, I don't see many ovations from the Glenn Jacobs camp that he's on board with that kind of stuff. He should be pro marijuana legalization. He should be pro, if he's truly, even just on the fiscal parts of stuff, if he's truly the anti-regulation guy, he should be getting rid of restrictions on, if he was a real libertarian, he would be opposed to the need for pharmacies. And I would probably bet that if anybody really hammered the point on him, he would say, no, we need to have pharmacies. We need to have a line of restriction between individuals and their medicine.
Right.
And that's not, that's pretty core in my libertarian argument, at least. Maybe I'm a little more psycho than most libertarians, but
I'd say it's with any political party, you're going to have a wide spectrum and a ever evolving kind of.
I agree with that. It's
core
just
stances on things.
The problem I have with it is that the part of libertarianism that I agree with, that he identifies with, is the parts of libertarianism that line up with republicanism. And so it's well, then just be a fucking Republican. You ran as a Republican for office, just be a Republican. It's fine. We have I have issues with Republicans, obviously, but don't identify as a libertarian when you're just a Republican.
Yeah.
You get the Ron Paul version of Republican because he did run as a Republican for president because that's how the fucking president's race works and stuff like that. But he was consistent across the board on libertarian values, not just the Republican side of them.
I thought he ran as independent.
No, he ran for president. He was primary. He was in the Republican primary.
Okay.
92. So that have been Bush Senior.
That was Ross Perot.
Ross Perot was the independent,
right?
But he was in the primary. Ron Paul was. I think
Ron Paul ran in 08.
Was it that late? I feel like it was earlier than that.
I thought that's when he got a bunch of wind behind his sails and became more well known.
Hey, whatever it was, he ran in the Republican primary strategically. Okay. Because he thought that was the only way he was going to get a real shot at getting any real attention, which he was right. Because if he had ran an independent, he would not have had nearly the volume of contact that he did. But anyway, so Glenn was on that thing, and so again, I think the tea leaves are telling me, among many other people, that he is likely pretty high, if not top of the list of people to be appointed to replace Marsha when she wins the governor's race. I did see somebody for governor sign in somebody's yard on Kingston Pike today that I'm guessing it's got to be the Democrat or some independent person.
Okay, I just looked up Wikipedia real quick. He did run as the Libertarian Party in '88, but then as a candidate for the Republican Party in 2008 and 2012.
Okay. Thank you for fact checking my.
No, I was just curious. I'm like,
no, you're good.
Like I thought, I was thinking he did run as an independent. Well, he might have been another like kind of Nader spoiler type story thing.
No, because he wouldn't have had the attention. I mean, he wasn't big enough yet. 2012, he might have been able to pull it off, but 2008, he needed to have that national spotlight. I wish Rand was more like his dad, but whatever. Rand's not bad. Rand's as good as it gets, I suppose. But
he's got his moments.
Yeah, I mean, he's put the screws to a couple people recently in hearings and stuff like that, which is fun.
He's been one of the loudest voices on the Republican side against the
Iraq,
alleged drug boats.
Right, Iran, Venezuela, Ukraine. I mean, that's what drives me nuts. It's like, I don't know, fuck, whatever. I don't know. We've been on federal shit too long. Oh, I don't know what else to do. It's just, it is impossible if you're paying a bit of attention. Like, I feel bad. Like, I lose my mind on people. And I feel like I do it much better when I'm in private than when I do it on the show against you. But I lose my mind on people. Like, I can't remember what the reference was, but like one of the regulars, and he kind of likes it. He pretends like he doesn't like it, but he likes it. But he'll bring something up, and I just start yelling at him. And it's like, no, whatever you're saying right now, no. Because he was the one that I was telling you a couple weeks ago about, like, he was, where I had to check myself because he was correct in the sense that the execution of the operation in going and getting what's his tart out of Venezuela was impressive. It is pretty amazing. On a tactical, like, they could do that. That's pretty cool. Not cool.
Landed in a foreign country and were able to take their head of state.
Right. Like, functionally, that is pretty cool. But the politics of it and the reality of what that actually does is not cool. And I jumped on his throat yelling at him about that part of it. And I'm not sure if he was backing off like it was cool and I think it's great, or he just thought it was cool but didn't really think it was great. I think he thought both, and then he backed off the second part when he could tell that I was not cool. And so it was funny. But, and I do it a lot. I catch myself just kind of blowing up on people a lot. And it's like, no, you're wrong, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't belittle people in my rantings and ravings, but it's just like, I feel like
you're misguided.
Well, like, you're allowed to have your opinion on it. I'm not trying to bash you for having an opinion on it. It's just like, I don't feel like most people take the time and energy is to actually put a greater, a bigger picture understanding of what they're talking about before they start running their mouth on it. And it's like, okay, well, you can have your opinion on it, but when I present things that are historically accurate and context to why this, that, or the other happened, and it kind of changes the lens on how to look at it, and you refuse because you just think it's the Fox News version or the MSNBC News version of what the story is.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's become more common just to like take someone else's commentary on whatever subject and take that as fact versus kind of actually, looking at least two or three different kind of like sources for whatever that subject is. Like, right. Well, I heard so-and-so say, and I take it as gospel.
But to me, it's even like, like you could have your person, like I have my people that I trust that I listen to a lot. Right. But like, it's just like, if the person you're listening to won't put any context on it, it's just like, this is the very particular thing that we're talking about, and this is the very particular take. And you can't say, hold on a second, like what collection of actions precipitated to get us here? You can pick whichever one you want, whether it's, like the foreign affairs kind of stuff with, again, you go into the Ukraine thing, you go into the Israel thing, you go into the Iran thing. Like, I just still don't understand why, like, the whole Middle East stuff in general, like, I just can't wrap my head around why we, like the Cuba one maybe is an easier one. Like, why do we hate Cuba again? Like, I still don't understand the context of why we continue to hate on the Cuban government. Like, I get, like, you know, there was that one guy that we really didn't like, and he was around forever, and we really didn't like him, and then his brother took over for a while, and I guess his brother, is it still other Castro, or is it somebody else now?
I don't think his brother's alive anymore. I'm not sure who's leading Cuba now.
You know, and it's like, what it, like, you know, again, like, okay, so we had some bad...
We've always been anti-communist, and I mean, they've been an avowed communist nation, essentially.
Okay, then, you know, and again, like, I think...
they're close. They're our neighbors, so we got to hate them.
Right, well, and credit to AC for it, because he kind of put a thought in my head that really kind of fucked me up, is that, I don't know, you know, I could agree with the argument that in the middle of the Cold War, the Soviets, who were our sworn enemy at the time, are sending nuclear missiles to hang out and be launchable from this island that's 5 feet away from us, that we're not okay with that. I can get behind that part. That makes sense to me. But we got those out of there. We defeated the Soviets in the Cold War.
Tried to invade Cuba.
And did a terrible job of it. But, you know, we defeated the Soviets in the Cold War. Is Cuba any real threat to us anymore? Communist or not? Like, what's the threat? Like, what's the danger? So. What could possibly happen if we just left Cuba alone and let them deal with their own shit?
I mean, it seems like at this point we're trying to kind of institute in other countries, like, kind of regime change.
Yep, we are. But we're saying, like, but again, like, that's the thing, is like, we've been on this constant, like, the Venezuela thing's a perfect example too, and realistically, as I understand it, the Venezuela thing was really just a poke at, it's a further poke at Cuba, and it's also an excuse for Trump to show strength or whatever fucking bullshit argument that is. But it's like,
yeah, it does seem like it's collateral that it's going to make Cuba,
right? And so it's like
Cuba collapse a little faster.
Collapse into what? But that's just it. It's collapse into what? Like, what do we want to happen? And why?
Bend the knee? I don't know.
Well, okay, Cuban people don't give a shit. They're just trying to survive till tomorrow. What's this leadership? Some new leadership? What's it matter? They're not a functional threat to us. Like, functionally, they're not a threat. They can't do anything.
Right.
But why? Like that's what I don't get about it. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Iran. What can Iran do to us? They can fuck around and raise the price of oil. Like, why are we going to spend billions and billions and billions of dollars keeping Iran in check? For what? Are they capable of taking over the region? I mean, sure, like, okay, they have an ideological need to destroy Israel, but again, that goes into a whole subset of questions, like, why do we give a shit whether Israel exists or not? Could we not just live on a planet where we say, hey, Iran, don't fuck with Israel, we won't fuck with you? And actually hold to that truce of that. But then at the same time, we have to go to Israel and be like, hey, Israel, don't fuck with Iran because we told them not to fuck with you. And if you fuck with them, then you got to deal with the consequences of fucking with them.
It seems like, to a lesser extent, they're a little bit more of kind of like the newer, kind of like North Korea, to where we were leaning on North Korea for a while. Like, hey, you've got to stop making nuclear stuff.
Right, but we have done a terrible job of promoting that theory to the world at large.
That's what we're telling Iran now. It's like,
I know, I agree, but we've been terrible about
getting rid of all your stuff.
Right, and so let's look around at the history. Again, this is why context matters. Let's look around at the history of the people who did disarm when we asked them to.
Nobody.
What's his face? Got butt raped in the middle of the street. God, what's his name? Blanking out on that.
What now?
Syria? Not Syria. Where was it? It was one of them over there. The dude.
Gaddafi?
Yeah. They had nukes.
Did they?
Yeah, we talked them into giving them up. We said, hey, give up those nukes and we'll be cool from here on out. And then the CIA and whomever was in there fucking around, and then we had a coup because we didn't like Gaddafi, even though he did what he said. And Gaddafi was going to gas his own people or whatever was the excuse to keep screwing with him. And it's like, well, he gave up his nukes, and we said we'd leave him alone, and then we didn't. So
I don't think we actually put boots on the ground there.
If I had nukes, we didn't put like the army on the ground there, but we had CIA running around.
I think we did.
Stuff. Did we? Okay. Anyway, either way. And so it's like, if you're UN or Iran or any other nation that has the ability to obtain a nuclear weapon, you get left alone. Once you get there, yeah, we hate North Korea and we're continuously like economically trying to do our best to destroy them. But at the end of the day, we're not invading North Korea. Like if we get down to the brass tacks of it, as far as these tiny nations that we like, comparably tiny nations that we go around and fuck with, North Korea is the lowest on the list because they have a nuke. Because if we go in there and like, I don't know, same thing we did with the Soviet Union, that was a much broader scale, obviously, but like, it's a big deal if you get caught with, some American spy doing stuff in North Korea. I'm sure we have spies in North Korea, don't get me wrong. But like, we get caught, it's a big deal. It's a big enough deal to the point where, they can't, we're not sure if they can actually get a nuke over here or not. They've hinted at trying to get the capability of getting there, and we don't think they're quite there or whatever, but they certainly could drop one on
test, and then some of them have been okay, and some of them have just completely like blown up.
But they could certainly get one into South Korea, who we're friendly with. They could certainly poke our friends real hard,
right?
And so it's like we don't screw around with North Korea like we're screwing around with Iran. We got Gaddafi to give his up, and then we got him killed. So, like, if I'm some small nation state that the U.S. fucking hates, I'm going to be doing everything in my power to try to get me a nuke, because then they're going to leave me alone. So it's kind of counterintuitive, or it's not counterintuitive, it's counterproductive, our methods as a nation to try to get nuclear nonproliferation, because everybody that we've got to do it has been punished for it. So why would you give it up? It just doesn't make sense.
Stop looking for carrots, and now we're just throwing sticks.
Right. And the only thing that gets you to quit throwing sticks is for me to have the biggest stick of the biggest stick that's ever existed in the stick game.
Yeah.
And like that's like, again, that's just like it does, like, it's so illogical, and it's so fundamentally ideological for what reason I can't figure out. Like, why do we hate Cuba today? I understand why we hated Cuba in the 60s. Why do we still hate Cuba today?
I would say if you ask most Americans, they're indifferent, don't really have any hatred towards.
Right. Yet we get this weird Venezuela proxy war that's really just another thing to add to the list of things that were just debilitating to Cuba. And the only people that really suffer in Cuba are not the Castro regime or whoever it is running the thing now. The people of Cuba's life suck because we made it so.
Reading a story about like some reporter that hadn't been there in a few years and went back. They're running obviously gas shortages, since I think a lot of their oil and gas or whatever came from Venezuela. And I think we've had an embargo on Cuba for a long time, which we started to lessen. Like, it was maybe
Obama started to normalize relations.
It wasn't that long ago that we actually started allowing Americans to like fly in and basically, take a trip there or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, their car situation is cool in a weird way. Like, necessity being what it is, all their cars are from the 50s. And they're all duct taped back together, and they look cool, and they run, sort of, and it's cool.
They're easier to fix.
Right. And that's the best they can do with what they have, and it works, and whatever. I don't know. Again, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, what's the strategic advantage? How does hating Cuba and trying to destroy the people of Cuba, trying to destroy the government of Cuba by destroying the people of Cuba, how does that make you and I better, safer, happier, whatever it is? Like, as far as like the government's supposed to work for us kind of thing, like somebody make that argument to me. The best argument, not the best argument. The only argument that really comes out is like, well, if we didn't do something about it, they'd come over here and kill us. It's like, well, they're probably going to come over here and kill us because we've been torturing them for fucking 75 years.
I was about to say, it's almost kind of creating a bad guy to make you look good. It's like, oh, well, look, we've stopped the bad guy from being able to do anything.
Right. What bad guy?
And it's like, well, you're the one that said they were a bad guy. Like, and now you're saying you've done all these great things to protect us from this bad guy. What were they doing?
Right. What is the bad? Right. Tell me more about this bad guy.
We got to win. We did this. We saved us. Saved us from what?
Right. Again, I go back to the peasant farmer because they're the peasant farmer in Cuba right now is the same sad peasant farmer that's been the sad peasant farmer for 100 years. Nothing's changed for that guy. Whether it was Castro or whatever. Like, it's just the same old for them. And theirs sucks because of international relations that has nothing to do with anything for them. Unless they make great cigars. They might be better off when we get to normalization. Because I bet you, I would assume, I don't know if I've ever had an official, like, actual Cuban cigar. I'm going to bet.
They're still illegal in the U.S.?
I'm going to bet they're not that good when you get right down to it. The only reason there's just that extra level, you know, it's like smoking, like when we were smoking cigarettes when we were 16. It was cooler because we weren't supposed to do it. I'm guessing Cuban cigars are like that. They're probably good, don't get me wrong. But I'm sure like Ecuadorian or Haitian cigars are just as good.
That's whatever. They're cigar aficionados. They're not that far off from being
right. They just have that added element of it's taboo. I'm not supposed to. This makes things special. So
I think for a while they were renowned, you know, going back decades.
Again, I don't doubt that they're some of the best. They're on they're up there in the top echelon, but others that make top echelon who don't get the credit because they're not illegal.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, well, that's not a very good. Again, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get what we're doing as a nation. I don't get it, what we're doing as people, and I don't like. Again, it goes back to that same thing I've had a bajillion arguments about. It's like, why? What are we electing these people to do? Are we electing presidents to protect us from the Cubans who aren't a threat? Is there anybody out there who thinks Cubans are a threat to us? Like, I could get like the anti-immigration argument of like a bunch of Cubans swimming across, you know, ruining South Florida as an argument, maybe. But like realistically, like as a nation, what is the threat that you are protecting us from? What could they possibly do that would have any real negative effect on any of us?
Try to spread their communists to us.
They could. And again, like that was what I was saying about the AC thing that kind of blew my brains back in the day. Like, had we not, because I could see communism actually working in a smaller nation like Cuba. Like the theoretical kind of makes more sense. I mean, the problem with it's a problem with democracy too. The scaling is the hard part. I could see communism working in a small scale, and I think Cuba would fit that bill. Doesn't mean that it would work in a large scale. You know, if we were a better educated population, we might understand that. You know, yeah, it could work when you only have, I don't know, how many people live in Cuba?
I couldn't say.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up because now I'm curious.
I mean, there's quote-unquote communes, you know, throughout the U.S. that
10, 12 million.
Operate.
Somewhere in the range of 10.9 to 11 million is the range I'm getting. Some estimates think it's under 10 million because of significant immigration. I didn't know that was the word for that.
You know that word?
I didn't know immigration.
Yeah.
I know immigration coming in, immigration going out. I don't know if I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've always wondered like how to emphasize that the E versus the I, because it's easily kind of misheard.
Immigration. I can say both. Yeah. So
I don't know that word yet. People leaving the country. Yeah.
I think the state of Tennessee, if the state of Tennessee was an independent nation at like 8 million or whatever we got here, I think it could pull it off. Like by the theory of it makes, the theory of it's really good, but in practice it doesn't work. Well, I think the theory of it could work at small scale, but it certainly doesn't seem to work at large scale. But again, okay, so what? If it worked, great, good for them. Who cares? What does that have to do with me and you? That's what I don't get. Anyway, I can go on my geopolitical rants for hours and hours and hours, but we're already hitting 2 hours.
I think it's more of just a distracted boogeyman.
I think you're 100% right, because I think that's why we're back. That's why we went back to the topic of Greenland. That's why we went back to the topic of Iran, is because all the domestic stuff that's going on right now sucks. So what can we do to not talk about domestic stuff? Nuclear weapons, communism. We got to stop them. It's that's the only way. We've got to focus on those things. We don't need to worry about these domestic issues. We need to tighten our belts and work as a team to defeat this evil that is no threat to us. Anyway, let's get weird. You ready to get weird?
Let's see what we got.
All right, here we go. Nope, wrong button.
Oh, we got freezing reptile dubbed Lizard in a Blizzard is rescued after being buried in Rhode Island snow.
I mean, I do hear stories about like the iguanas falling out of trees.
Yeah, I've heard those, yeah.
What is this one about? Like, so there's a lizard that got stuck in this, got outside and then...
Man discovered buried in snow, somehow surviving the frigid temperatures. Spotted the tegu lizard from his driveway on Tuesday. The reptile was quickly brought indoors and wrapped in a t-shirt to help conserve heat.
I mean, there's a frog. I can't remember what the name of the frog species is, but there's a frog species which basically dies. It's not functionally hibernation, but it's like an Arctic frog species that goes and like burrows into the ground during the winter and freezes solid, like literally, like no matter how, like it doesn't bury deep enough to not freeze, like its blood freezes.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that one, yeah.
And then when spring comes around and the temperature's warm, I mean, I guess that's an amphibian, but it's cold-blooded anyway. Either way, like but anyway, the frog I'm talking about is evolved to function within the cold climate or whatever. But like, I would think most, like you and I could freeze to death too, and we're warm-blooded. But I think a lot of reptiles, just because of the way their metabolism works, can handle cold temperatures. It's just going to take them a while to come back from it.
I don't think reptiles handle cold temperature at all.
Like, if they don't get eaten because they don't move, like they don't die automatically. It's usually that they just lose their ability to move.
This one, apparently, a small portion of the tongue was amputated, I guess, due to frostbite.
Yeah, ew, that's gross. Well, I mean, if we're talking frostbite levels, then yeah, I guess even warm-blooded animals are dying of that shit. Where was this? Where did this happen? I'm sorry, I jumped ahead.
Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah. So this is a pet. This wasn't
I'm not sure if they figured out if it was. I think they suspect maybe it was an abandoned pet.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not a native wild.
No.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to say. Like, it was a pet. If it, whether it was a pet yesterday or a pet 5 years ago, and somebody left it out. I mean, it had to be. Like, if it had been out there for a while, that's interesting. I'd be curious if there's any studies on that.
Yeah. See here, I guess exposure to the cold is a circumstance that leads to cell failure in cold-blooded animals and low temperatures.
Huh. I learned something to do to that. All right, one more. If I can hit the right button. Yay, I did it.
Let's see here. We got a video that shows flames flying from NASA plane that touched down without landing gear.
Yeah, that's fun. I saw a video. What the fuck was it? It was like a British Airways taking off in like Chicago or something like that. Dropped a wheel.
I hear about that.
Yeah, it was a crazy story. Anyway, NASA plane just like belly landed.
Let's see here. Malfunction and had a touchdown in Texas without landing gear on Tuesday, sliding across the runway on its belly and sending plumes of flames behind it.
I mean,
crew landed the plane at Ellington Airport, southeast of Houston, and are, quote, all safe at this time.
I mean, I totally assume a belly landing is going to throw some sparks for sure.
We got some other good news. Oscar Mayer's Wienermobile race is coming back to Indy 500.
Hell yeah. I'll tell you what. Like, I mean, I've never felt more like a child in a good way. A couple of years ago, I was down at the Kroger in Maryville when I was working. I had to go work that Kroger in Maryville, and they had the Wienermobile parked out front, and they were just getting set up. And I saw that thing. I was so excited. I didn't stop and get on it or do anything like that. I was working, and they weren't set up yet. But it was just like, that thing's just fun. I love that thing. I love that thing exists. It makes me happy that thing exists.
So once in Turkey Creek years ago, when I had the kids with me, and actually they gave us a couple like little weenie whistles. We're like, oh shit, it's Oscar Mayer. That's a Wienermobile.
That's grooming, dude. That's some gay. That's some gay grooming moves right there.
What?
Now, here's a weenie whistle, buddy. Why don't you blow on that for a little bit?
Way to go dark with
it. No, whatever.
It's one kind of like cheap tchotchke that they can give out whenever you get kids like, oh my god, it's a Wienermobile.
I love it. Like I said, I love that it exists, and I love that that the childish pervy part of me comes out when I'm talking about it. I think that's part of why I love it. Not in the actual groomy way. That was that was me taking a little further, yeah. But just in the weenie part. That's part of what makes it great. I mean, hot dogs are great. It's the weirdest great food that ever existed. Now I want a hot dog, man. If I'm not buried in too much snow, I might get out and go pick up a bag of hot dogs and some buns.
We'll get a hot dog.
Gonna give me some. I mean, there is like there may not be a better food than a good chili dog, to me. Like good, like messy. Like you're gonna go to the bathroom and wash your face after eating it. Chili dog.
Yeah, I'd rather go for a nice quality burger over a chili dog.
Well, that's one of the things.
I would do a chili burger over a chili dog.
Do a. Get us like a million listeners, and I'm start monetizing this thing, and we're opening the hot dog stand. That's one of my.
I forgot that was on your
bucket list things to do. And I would like. There was the Sonic on across from Bearden Elementary School is gone, and
is it?
Yeah, it's been purchased now, but it was available, and I wish if I was in a position to do it, that would have been it. Because I want the Carm.
Your burger drive-in.
I want the Carm drop off that's over here in North Shore. I would love to get that one.
I think that was a little hot dog stand for a minute.
I've heard that, and I mean, look, man, like there's, and again, like this is super nostalgia, and it's just me, and I get that. But like literally. It doesn't matter if I ever went to Huntington for any reason. We always went to the Stewart's in Huntington. It's the greatest chili dog on the planet, and it didn't matter. Like I don't care what we were doing. I was up there the last handful of times. It was for funerals and estate business, and on the way in, depending on what time of day it was, on the way in or the way out, I was stopping. I was going downtown and I was stopping and getting one.
Right,
and it didn't matter. Like there was a like. For me, at least, and maybe this is a poor business plan because everybody isn't me, obviously. But for that one in particular, there was a nostalgia there that I just can't get over. And it would take decades to build that. That's part of the problem with my want.
Yeah, that would have been there a long time.
Oh, yeah, they've been there like the
history
50s.
of it or whatever.
Yeah, it's been there for a very long time. I mean, it sits there. It's hilarious. It's the funniest little thing. Like it's right in the middle of a steel plant. Like there's a giant steel plant that wraps around it, like it's a little cutout of a steel plant. Like
it probably grew alongside it, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the steel plant grew around it. But anyway, it's like all the steel guys would come there for lunch and or dinner or whatever. And now the university's there, and that's the only thing that's left. And the college kids love it and whatever. It's like I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like it's great. It's the greatest thing ever. The buildings, whatever. It'd be one of those, like the only way it would work, like it would have to be one of those that we start and the kids take and the kids run it, or one of the kids runs it. And it becomes.
The one we went to, it was like an old like motel also that had like almost like a kind of row of like 4 or 5 kind of like hotel rooms almost that like one of them was a bathroom or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Remembering correctly.
Yeah, I think it's just that was a building.
I think it's their storage or whatever, but it looks like it used to be like an old like kind of small.
I feel like it was a building
or whatever.
I think it was a building they added because they needed it.
Okay.
But I don't know. Yeah, you're 100% right that's a weird little the actual restaurant, quote unquote, itself is this little tiny building in the middle of the lot, and then there's its offices and storage and a bathroom on this separate building across the back that does look like a very tiny, like 4 or 5 room hotel.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, that's the deep dive down the emotional part of Stewart's Hot Dogs. If apparently there's a couple in Ohio, and there's a couple in Kentucky. I think they're not quite Lexington, but like they get almost to Lexington. There's one there. I think they have like 5 total. They got them spread out. There's only that's the only one in Huntington. But anyway, which now that I'm thinking about it makes me sad because I may never ever have another one in my life because I have no reason to ever go back to Huntington, West Virginia ever again.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out. Or I'll just start making my own, maybe that's the move. Maybe I find a property and see if they'll let me open a franchise of theirs, and they'll send me.
Yeah, I was about to say a franchise of that.
But I don't know.
Like, I love you guys. Let me be one of you guys.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I would have to be like, I'll do a franchise, and I'll hold to like 10% of your values, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do. Because I really want to make the Eli one, which is his is mac and cheese and onions. So it's hot dog bun, mac and cheese, onion. He puts ketchup on it because he's gross. He puts ketchup on everything.
Okay.
I'll let you do that as the customer. I'm not going to force the ketchup on you. But he does mac and cheese, onions, dog, bun.
Somebody doing ketchup on rice, on like white rice.
Gross. We were watching the show. They did ketchup on turkey.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I'll do ketchup on like a fried bologna sandwich. I think mayo's better with it. But.
I don't do a lot of ketchup on much of anything anymore now that I think about it. Ketchup and fries. I'm not like crazy. Although I do like the malt vinegar every once in a while. Like I'll throw that one in the mix. As I've aged.
Yeah. I never got into vinegar.
Did some tahini. We finally got some tahini in this house. It's too limey. Anyway, all right. So last call, Fred. Now that we've got a random food tangent, anything else really that you need to cover, or are we good?
Nothing crazy. I did see some weird story about Alberta, Canada. Apparently, they had some kind of meeting or have made some like what's the word? Overages. Or I guess it's like trying to talk to like the Trump administration or talking to the White House about like breaking off.
Oh,
from
they
Canada,
want to become Americans,
becoming part of the U.S.
They want to secede, and they've made overtures.
Yeah, overtures. That's the word I was looking for.
Interesting.
The premier was like, I think like that's treason. It's like you're talking to a foreign nation about breaking away from basically, taking a province of the nation with that you're a part of.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's a democracy element to it, though. That's got to be you got to be respectful of the premise of like it's like, well, I mean, like I'm down with like the whole.
Quebec tried to do it years ago. They tried to they had a big vote of trying to like separate themselves from Canada.
I mean, you get in the U.S. version of it. It's like, what was it, Washington or Oregon? Like a big chunk of Oregon wants to go to Idaho.
Yeah.
Like, I can get behind the democratic process on that. Like, if the people of Idaho are cool with adding people and the portions of Oregon are cool with going over there, like, I don't really care if the rest of Oregon is not cool with it. There is some, there's got to be some opening for, like, some sort of seceding plan.
Yeah, Texas has talked about it for a while.
Like, I don't know, like, it's like a, I don't know, battered wife, I guess. Like, like I'm like, I hate you, but you're not allowed to leave.
Yeah, so I don't know what kind of like, level it has to get to for it to like kind of pass to be something that drastic. Like, could you have a vote of like, 50.5% of the population that says they want to secede and then, okay, we're just going to redraw boundary lines now. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, honestly, like when you get down to the brass tacks of it, and they're all imaginary lines anyway. Yeah, I mean, again, like I'm sure I don't know that there's anything in the Constitution of the United States about how to deal with that. But like once you're in, you're in. can't
There's
leave
stuff in the
ever?
Constitution about creating states, but yeah, I'm not sure about like dividing states.
You know, like I can understand the premise of the U.S. being like, nah, we're not okay with that. It's like, well, you don't have to be okay with it necessarily.
Well, no, I mean, I think West Virginia was created by like a level of voting.
Yeah, but that was
They were able to.
that was so politically fraught with all the shit that's going on with the Civil War and
Right.
you know, abolitionists and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was literally, it was in the best interest of the North to permit that, so that they could have another state that would vote. I mean, that's what's interesting when you get down to it. Like the history, the history of politics on that was literally just like it's the same as the Missouri Compromise,
Right.
and the Mason-Dixon line. It was just one of those like, this whole slavery thing's a big fucking deal, and we don't want it, and you want it, and how can we get a mathematical advantage in the way the system works to offset these things?
I can't remember the specifics. Like the West Virginia was weird because I think that was post Virginia seceding from the Union. So then, like West Virginia, or these other delegates who want to create West Virginia, were able to kind of like
Right.
basically say they had legitimate votes because they're like, hey, you Virginians said you don't want to be a part of the United States anymore.
Right. And
we are the rightful like legislators, basically.
Right. Anybody that is voting on behalf of Virginia that is recognized by the current United States was in that camp.
Right.
Yeah, makes total sense. And again, for the federal government side of it, it was in their best interest to take it. And that's why we have West Virginia. That's great. Great, fun history. All right, man, we'll call it a show right there. Anything else?
That's about it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, 14th of April. 14th of April is my debate. You should be there and just come support me and yell at candidates. I don't really care. I don't know what to do. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, I want to talk about taxes. I want to talk about budgets. I want to talk about money, because that's all that really matters anyway. So that's what we're going to push on the conversation, because I think that's important. I think that's the most important thing that most of us care about, because a change in property tax is likely needed, maybe is a better way to put it, whether depending on which candidate wins, might change whether we get it or not. But I want to argue about that. I want to hear different takes on it, and I might change my mind. I might be on board with a candidate that is anti-tax, because I'm a libertarian, as I said, and I'm usually anti-tax too. So Almost Agreement, gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Please come out on the April 14th. Tell your friends about us. Tell your friends about the debate. And, we'll be back next week. Probably in person, maybe under another foot of snow. Who knows? Apparently it's just going to be every weekend and ruin Monday, Tuesday for Knox County schools for the rest of the year. So, stay safe, stay warm. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.